If you're reaching out to somebody, if you're taking their advice, or even if you have a 5 minute conversation with somebody and you get a little nugget out of that five conversation, take action on that, whatever you took away, and show that person that that was really helpful. Because again, nobody likes to spend time with a time waster, and too many people just ask questions and don't do anything with that information. You have to take action. I always tell everybody that the reason why I am where I am today, running a multi-million-dollar company, have all these projects under my belt right now, is not because I'm so super smart or whatever it is. None of that shit. It's because I start taking action back when I needed to. And even today.
This here is for you guys, the movers and the shakers, the motivated and creators, the big thinkers, the big dreamers, the outliers, the one pushing the needle forward, the students of the game and the ones making their lanes, the ones that get things done and know everything is one. Welcome to your pod, the Everything is Everything podcast. Let's go!
Can't ignore it, this my story, I've been more than ready. And this stuff I'm cooking up is like culinary. True intentions, must I mention, it's just legendary.
Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to another episode of the Everything is Everything podcast. We have a very, very special guest today. I'm very excited. We have Anton-Z from the REI call center, very well known in the real estate community, in the wholesale community, here to share some valuable information with us and, tell us a little bit more about himself and his life and, what's gotten him into this career. So Anton, I want to say thank you for coming on.
Vladimir, thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, super awesome. So yeah, for the people that don't know you, I kind of want you to take the time to give yourself an introduction and kind of say, who's Anton-Z?
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for that. Just a quick backstory about me. I'm a local investor here in Miami, Florida market. I started investing about 6 years ago. In the meantime of me getting into the investment world of real estate, I started a company called REI Call Center, which helps hundreds of investors find off-market deals. That's how I started with real estate, is I knew that I had to go off market to get the deals that you can have the most meat on the bone with. So that's why I thought maybe there's an opportunity for us to start a business and help others do the same thing. So over the last 3.5 years, we've been running REI Call Center, helping investors find off-market deals. We'll work with realtors, wholesalers. Now we're getting into more of a home service type of industry as well. Roofers, solar, HVAC companies, finding them businesses and lead generation, not only for real estate, but also for their businesses. That's a little bit backstory about myself. What else would you like to know?
I love that, man. I love that. So like you said, so you thought of the idea to create the call center initially because you wanted to do real estate and find deals and kind of realize like, oh, this is something that's needed here, or what was the thought process there?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, if you would have told me that I was going to run a call center 5 years ago, I would have laughed at you and said, why would I even start this business? But it literally fell in my lap, because when I started in real estate, I didn't know much about the industry. So what I chose to do is I chose to learn from the pros. I joined a mastermind community. Back then it was real estate investors. And to your listeners, to all my listeners, to all my followers, I always tell them that this is a shortcut to success, is get around people that are already doing what it is that you want to be doing. A lot of people don't like to network, don't like to go out there and shake somebody's hand and say, hey, my name is Anton, I'm a newbie real estate investor. But there's so much opportunity now for anybody to join a community, a mastermind group, and just sit there and listen and absorb it as a sponge. And that's exactly what I did. I was very much a newbie in the world 6 years ago. I didn't know what I was going to do. And I started learning about real estate. And one of the areas of real estate that really attracted me back then was wholesaling real estate. And for those of you who are familiar with the concept or not, just a quick background: wholesaling real estate is where you find a property, you put it under contract, you take that contract, you send it to a badass investor like Vladimir for a profit, and then you just walk away with a profit. You don't know what you're doing. Vladimir knows exactly what he's doing, so he can take that deal and he can make it even bigger. So that's what I started doing. I wanted to, and the reason why I wanted to do this is because not only did I not have enough knowledge about real estate back in the day, I wanted to learn, but I also didn't have much time. I had my W-2. I was working in a corporate world, traveling the world, didn't have too much time on my hands. So I knew that I needed to devote a couple of hours a day just to do my research, to find deals. And then after that, I can go ahead and get into much bigger deals where you can find the properties, flip them, keep them as a rental. But literally, that's what I did. And I started coaching under a individual who I always mention out of Jacksonville, Florida. He's a badass. Go follow him, Gonzalo Corzo. He is a local wholesaler in Jacksonville, Florida. Back then, he was doing $4 million in assignment fees, which blew my mind. And what I mean by assignment fees is literally that difference between me taking the contract for $100,000 and selling it to somebody like Vladimir for $110,000. That $10,000 spread in between is my assignment fee.
Nice.
He was making $4 million in those assignment fees back then. So I was like, wow. So it was insane.
Volume of deals.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And if you guys follow my content, I always talk about the guy. I talk about how he did it, and the way that he did it. It was just all about volume, just like you said. He got hundreds of these deals that were paying him 10, 12, maybe even $5,000 assignment fees, but there were hundreds of them.
Right.
And at the end of the year, he was doing pretty well. So I joined the mastermind. He came on a call of that mastermind just one night to talk about wholesaling real estate. I got excited about it. Next morning, I was at the gym working out. I always tell people that the best time to have ideas and take action is right after a workout, because that's when your dopamine levels are the highest and you're just like, oh, I can do anything. So what I did is I called my mentor back then and I was like, how can I get a hold of this Gonzalo guy and get some insights? I don't care how much I have to pay. I want to learn. I want to do what he's doing. And long story short, my mentor was like, here's his number. Give him a call and see what you can do. Literally.
Awesome. And made that connection, and then you met with him. So
correct, yeah. So I called Gonzalo right off the bat. So for those of you who are listening, I'm not sure what your audience are into, but one of the things that I always talk about is take action. Don't think about things too much. You in your own gut know what you have to do. And a lot of the times, for some reason, we try to overanalyze it, put fear in our mind. Oh, this guy is not going to be able to help me out, and just too much. Take that shit out of your head and just pick up the phone and make that call and introduce yourself. The worst thing they can say is no.
Yeah, that's who the audience that we're shooting for, the growth mindset mentality. So this is already perfect for what the content's supposed to be and what we're looking for. And I love wholesaling, by the way, which I know we didn't really talk about too much in our first conversation. So I got a wholesale deal right now going on that I should be closing on in a little bit. It's actually my first one. I call it wholesale, and you know what wholesaling is. I actually put it on the market and got a retail buyer at the end of it, which makes it even a little more juicier. But yeah, I love the concept, and I love the concept that you're giving of action, of saying, oh, you know what? I love that idea, but not only do I love that idea and am I going to daydream about this, how can I contact the person that's already doing it and get under that mentorship and really take massive action behind it? So I think that's so important. So just to kind of keep going on it, because I do want to kind of figure out the journey a little bit. Now you meet this guy, you're still thinking, I'm going to do wholesaling, right? Now I'm going to start calling on a rapid pace, right? What's your experience when you call? Because I'm a real estate agent. I cold call. What's your experience when you start cold calling or when you start going through?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely eye-opening experience back in the day. And even now today, when I make cold calls, huge shout out to 300 of our agents plus at REI Call Center who do this day in and day out. Cold calling is not the funnest thing to do. It's not the most rewarding thing to do because of how much time it takes for you to find that needle in the haystack of somebody to say yes. Most of the time you're going to hear no, a whole bunch of other stuff that you never want to hear from anybody, because again, yeah, nobody likes to get a phone call from a stranger and talk about something that, you're bothering people, you're taking them out of what they're doing with their families or maybe at work, and you're talking about how you want to buy their property or whatever you want to do. So cold calling is definitely a huge shout out to anybody who's doing it. Huge shout out to my people at REI Call Center, because it's definitely one of those very difficult things to keep consistent with, because every single day you get bombarded with people just telling you how just like so many things. I don't even want to get into it, but the beauty of it though is it does make you resilient. It does make you say, you know what, if I can go through this, no matter what anybody else in the future can tell me, it's not going to really affect me. So I highly encourage your listeners, even though I have a service that offers cold calling, I highly encourage your listeners to pick up the phone and start cold calling themselves. Make at least 50 phone calls. That's exactly what Gonzalo did. Gonzalo was super smart. He never really mentored me. He said, I'm going to go ahead and give you an hour of my time, coming on a Saturday morning, 7 a.m., Zoom call, and you can ask me any question that you can ask me. that you would like to ask me. And that's exactly what I did. And he was just answering them in a very much of a way of a question answer type of form. He never really guided me too much in the beginning because he wanted to see what I was really, if I would take that action.
Yeah. Are you wasting my time or not? Like, right?
Absolutely. And to your listeners, is if you're reaching out to somebody, if you're taking their advice, or even if you have a 5-minute conversation with somebody and you get the little nugget out of that 5 conversation, take action on that, whatever you took away, and show that person that was really helpful. Because again, nobody likes to spend time with a time waster, and too many people just ask questions and don't do anything with that information. You have to take action. I always tell everybody that the reason why I am where I am today, running a multi-million-dollar company, have all these projects under my belt right now, is not because I'm so super smart or whatever it is. None of that shit. It's because I start taking action back when I needed to. And even today, right now, I was on a call right before your podcast. I was on a call with the development team who has a software talking about how they help investors analyze a deal and put developers with investors together. So I'm thinking of ways how I can take REI Call Center to the next level of helping our investors find deals, then analyzing the deal, because money loves certainty. Whenever you get a deal, nobody knows what it's all just like guessing, thinking. Yes, there's all these calculators, but really money loves certainty. You have to be certain about the deal. And once you are certain about a deal, you can take somebody like these guys, take their software, take it to a development group and show them, and then take our investors and kind of connect them. So I'm always thinking of ways how I can take action even today. Never get comfortable. It is what it is that you're doing.
Pushing the needle forward and pushing.
Absolutely. But going back to cold calling, I started making cold calls. Like I said, I was working throughout the day. I would come home. My goal, Vladimir, I had a goal. Set a goal for yourself. I had a goal. I needed to talk to 25 individuals. I don't care if it's going to be a quick, no, I'm not interested. I don't care if it's going to be a 1-hour conversation. Every single day, I needed to talk to 25 individuals. Voicemails don't count. No connects don't count. I needed to talk. I don't care what they say. I needed to get comfortable with cold calling.
So 25 people to pick up.
Pick up, exactly. 25
people that pick up.
That's it. If it takes me an hour and everybody says no, I'm done for the day. Great job. Pat yourself on the back.
You did it. Yeah.
You're good. And so that's exactly what you need to do. Set that goal, but reach that goal. Consistency is key. Every single day I would come, and no matter how difficult it was, I would just sit down, pick up my phone, start dialing and say, hey, this is Anton. In the beginning, I didn't know what I would say. In the beginning, I didn't know how to handle objections, but I did it. I got my first deal under contract, made like $7,500 from that deal. I felt like I was the richest person in the world. And then Gonzalo tells me like that he outsources cold calling. He never told me that on the first call. He's like, I'm like, gee, how do you do this, man? Like, this is nuts. It took me so much time, and I made so much time.
I was gonna say, how long did that first deal take? I love being realistic with people and always letting them know from day one of cold calling. You talk with Gonzalez, you're excited. 25 is the goal. How long from that moment to first deal under contract, or first even interview? Let's say either first interview or actual execution of contract with that deal.
Yeah, I would say first deal under contract. So I connected with Gonzalo at the end of January, and I got my first deal under contract in first week of May. So that was again,
5 months.
It takes time, guys. This is not an overnight success kind of get rich quick scheme. It's not, and don't treat it that way. A lot of people come into the world of wholesaling, see these checks being advertised on Instagram about how I made all this money. You can't make all that money, but understand this is going to take time, it's going to take effort, it's going to take investment, it's going to take stress, it's going to take anything, like any business.
Of course.
Imagine any business, you're going to have to go through hoops that you're going to have to jump through.
Absolutely.
And whoever tells you that you're going to do this overnight to become successful, don't believe him, because that's not true. But if you take consistent action and you get around people that are already doing it, take their advice, move on. I promise you, you're going to succeed. Just put it all in and go all in, like I said. So
I love that. So now you've got the first deal done, 7,500. It takes you about 4 or 5 months. You're like, all right, this is great, but 7,500 in 4 or 5 months, not going to pay the bills, right?
Absolutely.
Gonzalo tells you he doesn't even make the calls now. So you're like, oh, wait, what? What do you do next? What do you do here? What do you?
I loved it.
He tells you this.
I loved it when he told me that, because I like opened up my eyes, like, holy crap, okay. Then I started sourcing cold callers. I started going out, and again, he didn't tell me much. He didn't tell me where he was getting, how he was getting them. He just gave me a nugget that I took that nugget and I started taking action, started figuring shit out, as they said. You have to figure it out as you go. Having a blueprint is nice, but at the end of the day, once if you go through the process of figuring shit out on your own and asking the right questions and taking the action, it will lead you to a much, much, much better place than just like reading about it. A lot of people can read about something and not take any action with that information for whatever reason.
And one person blueprint doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you either, because it depends on personality types, what your objective is, your goals. So it's always nice to get advice, but you got to put in the action to know what's going to work for your style and your career and your goals.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. So I started hiring cold callers.
I love it.
I started having cold callers help me. My first year, I did about, I think, $56,000 in assignment fees. Not a lot. Living in Miami, it's not a lot of money. But at the end of the day, I had my W-2. I was good, and I was doing this part time. I'm like, holy crap, this is great. So I had a team of cold callers, 2 to 3, I think. There were, and cold callers, you know, some work, some don't. So some were good, some were lackluster. So having a cold caller, managing them, and making sure that they do their job is 2 different things. So that's why a lot of people, when they do hire their own cold callers, they do not succeed, is because of how much management you have to put behind that process.
Correct. I have 2 VAs myself, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a process, and finding good people is really difficult. That's why, again, you have to have a system in place. And so REI Call Center, how it all came about, just so that we can wrap it all up into a nice little box.
Right. Yeah, how you actually get to that level of REI.
I started doing deals, and I started doing these small assignment checks, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 assignment checks. And the mastermind that I was in asked me to come in and just talk about what it is that I'm doing, because I was just posting on Instagram. By the way, use Instagram to your advantage. Don't be afraid to post about yourself, about your story, because you don't know who you're going to help out. You don't know what connections you're going to have. And this connection was made actually through Instagram. So I started just posting about myself, about doing these deals, and just talking about it, just because for one way, I love Alex Hormozi, how he talks about how recording your own journey, your journey. That's what I wanted to do. And the second thing is just I really wanted to maybe help somebody else. I love helping other investors. That's why I do these podcasts, and I love talking about this stuff. But people started hitting me up for a cold caller. They found out, and I started talking about cold calling, how this is how I find deals. Like, oh man, can you help me find a cold caller? Sure, I can help you find a cold caller. Awesome. And so I started helping people finding cold callers. I'm like, Gonzalo gave me this opportunity, and I'm going to give this opportunity back to somebody else. I didn't even think about making money from this, Vladimir, in the very beginning. I didn't. I was like, here's how I do it. Here's the ad post that I make. Here's where I post it. Here's how I interview. Here is the information. I really wanted to give back, because I do believe in karma. What goes around comes around. Absolutely. And after a while, after getting my first 5, 6 people that I helped with the cold calling, I realized this is a a time-consuming activity. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna do the legwork. I'm gonna help you find the cold caller. I'm gonna interview them, and I'm gonna give them to you. And I started charging people like something stupid ridiculous, like $1,500, $750. You pay me, and then first for me to start, and then $750 once we find a hire. Got it. So I started doing that, and I started advertising it. So that was like an additional income stream that I didn't even think about back then. It was just one more of those, like, you have to charge for your time eventually. Absolutely, yeah. Because I mean, now you start getting a bunch of calls, it's taken away from your actual business, right? And you're like, well, can't do that either, right? Absolutely. And then what happened? I had my mentor that I was mentoring with, that got Gonzalo on the call. He called me, and he's like, Anton, I need you to help me find a cold caller. I'm like, man, I got you. So I helped him find like 2, I think, or 3 callers back then. I'm like, I got you, don't worry. He's like, how much is it going to be? I'm like, don't worry about how much it's going to be. Just, I got you. I want to give back. You gave me an opportunity. I want to give back the opportunity. I didn't want anything from the guy. I really just wanted to pay back. And I did. And he was like, holy shit, man. I'm like, one day is going to come around. I promise you we'll do something. Yeah, so we'll do business. Be from that, again, to your listeners, not only taking action, but be from that giving side. Like, the more you give, the more it comes back to you. I 100% believe in that. And I just, like, some people I charge because, they were using it as a service. This guy gave me a lot of information. So I'm like, no, here you go for free. Right. A couple months in after that. So time goes by, have patience, right? Things take time. So time, like maybe like a month in, he calls me back and he was like, I see that you're charging people for this. He hears my story on Instagram. Hey, I can find you a cold caller for $750. I'm always an open book. I'm super transparent about everything that I do. And he's like, maybe we can make a business out of this. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, instead of just recruiting and giving people away, why don't we recruit, train, manage, and then if necessary, when they do not work out, because a lot of the times cold callers do, it's a turn.
Revolving door. Yeah, it's a turn.
Yeah, exactly revolving door, because not everybody likes to be on the phone for 8 hours a day, getting yelled at, screamed at, don't call me again, blah, blah, blah. So why don't we manage, train them, upskill them, all this stuff? And that's how REI Call Center was born. So huge shout out to Felipe. He was the one that kind of had the idea of putting what it is that I was already doing, the need in the market of this service, and putting it together into a nice box called REI Call Center. And that's that's where we are today, 3.5 years later.
Is Felipe still a partner on REI Call Center, correct?
No, he's not a partner with REI Call Center. We decided, because he started his own other company, so we decided it's best that we just separate. We're super good friends. I mean, it was definitely not a breakup. It was more of just like let
growth.
Yeah, it was definitely a growth step for him, for myself. So Felipe is no longer, but again, him and I are super good friends, and we always exchange ideas. So
that's awesome. So shout out to Felipe Mejia, that is, right? That's
correct.
Instagram. Yeah, I know him as well. That's awesome. So you guys build the business.
Yep.
Again, giving back. You brought that up, and I just wanted to highlight that for a second. Because we do books. So a lot of what we do are book reviews. And one of the books that I'm planning on doing either this week or next week is The Go-Giver. So that's a great book. Have you read that book before?
Great one.
Yeah,
I read it, listened to it. It's a phenomenal reminder of, no matter how successful you get, no matter where you are in your life, the more you give, the more you're going to give back. So yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, I love that. And that's exactly what you put into play right there, where, you gave back and it came back tenfold. So REI Call Center has been on now since 2020 or 21?
2021. So 3 years now. 3 years. So we just celebrated in May our 3-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
And by the way, before we move on, huge shout out to others who played a role, who also were business partners at one point for REI. Diego Corzo, follow him on Instagram. Adam Barber is still my business partner in REI. So it's building that team. Felipe was the idea. I was the executor. Diego came in with his expertise on systems, on processes, on putting everything together. Adam was helping in from the back end. So it was a team. You cannot do this on your own. And don't try to be greedy, and don't try to say, no, I'm going to keep everything to myself. I'm not going to go ahead and share this with anybody because I want to make all this money. Trust me, you're going to cut years, not decades, off your timeline of success if you bring the right people in. And if you do another book review, definitely one of the big ones that I love to talk about is Who Not How. I don't know if you've ever read that one, but I haven't. Definitely have to read it. It talks about how important it is to have the right who's on your team versus the how. As a CEO, I'm the CEO of REI Call Center. CEO has three things he has to do, in my opinion, and that is set a vision for your team. That is get the right who's on your team. Huge part if you don't have the right who's. And then who's are going to help you with developing the strategy. Have the vision, get the right who's in place. The who's are going to help you get there. A lot of the times we get it different. We try to get a vision, strategy, and then find people to work for you. And then it's just, again, it's a lot more difficult that way. Having the right people on your team is definitely going to help you succeed much quicker.
We're definitely doing that book soon.
Who Not How. Huge
shout out. Who Not How. I love that, man. So REI Call Center has been going since 2021, growing massively. You're seeing success in this. I love that. I know you're doing an expansion. So your cold callers, are you dealing with mainly people in the States? I know that you're looking to do something in Colombia.
Yep.
Where's mainly like everything at now? Is everything stationed out of Miami? Do you have it abroad, or how does that look?
Yeah, absolutely. From the cost perspective analysis, we definitely have to go outside of the United States, abroad. And I knew that when I started, and there was a couple of things that I wanted to make sure that I don't fall into the into going where everybody else goes. I didn't want to go where everybody else goes. I wanted to be a little bit different, and I think that's what helped REI Call Center succeed, is because we were able to be different. So I started with Latin America first. I went into Costa Rica, Colombia, Brazil, Venezuela, Ecuador, Nicaragua, all those countries, because I thought that that's going to be the most simplest, easiest way to hire people, because we're in the same time zone. They speak Spanish. We're here in the United States, so it was a lot closer. I knew I didn't want to go to the Philippines because, again, like I said, everybody goes there. So I wanted to be a little bit different. So I started with Latin America. And at one point in our journey, we had about 50 agents from different parts of Latin America working for REI Call Center. And then one day we had 160 applications come in one day from Egypt. And back then, like I said, Vladimir, if you would have told me, like, tomorrow I'm jumping on a flight at 10 a.m. to go to Egypt to spend the whole week with my team over there. I do this every single year. So I'm glad we're able to get this podcast in. But tomorrow I'm going to Egypt, and phenomenal people, phenomenal place. I mean, I can't say that I highly recommend it, because I would love to keep all the people to myself, but definitely those are very, very, very hardworking people. Huge shout out to everybody who works for REI. And I got a call from my HR girl back in the day. She was in Colombia, and she said, "Anton, we have a problem." And I said, "What's the problem?" She's like, "We have 160 people apply from Egypt." I'm like, "From where?" She's like, "Egypt." Okay. And she says, "What do we do?" And I say, "Well, look, we have to, let's interview them. Why not?
Everyone, yeah, let's see what's going
on." And so we decided to start interviewing them. And these guys came with experience. I don't know if many of you listeners know, but Egypt actually went through a revolution only 10 years ago, a little bit over 10 years ago. So they're still kind of getting back into things and getting back into the normal way of life. But one of the secrets to our success was that prior to the revolution, you had companies like Vodafone UK, AT&T, Sprint already have offices in Egypt, and had personnel that were trained, that were very professional, that had great English, that were just phenomenal. And I was surprised when I started interviewing these guys, how on point they were, how relentless they were with their questioning, how aggressive they were on the phone. And I started hiring them. And eventually, long story short, I closed off everything in Latin America, and I decided to go to Egypt. And last three years, I think, we have been in Egypt, from our cold callers, supporting staff, everything and anything related to REI Call Center. And now, like you said, I was in Colombia yesterday. I was there for 10 days. Last week, meeting with recruitment agencies, with doing some interviews, because I definitely want to come back to the Latin America side of things, and quote unquote where we started from, back to our roots. Not that we're going to leave Egypt for no reason. Right. I think we're going to stay there for many, many, many years to come. It's just from my perspective, I think you know me, how I love Colombia myself personally. This is more of a personal decision, how I would love to live there one day. So yeah, and it's only 3-hour flight from Miami, so it's super quick to get there. But yeah, so my goal is in the next 6 months, not only have an office in Egypt that we have right now, but also have a working office and operation in Colombia, doing what it is that we're already doing, and expanding of what it is that we're already expanding on. A lot of ideas. There's a lot of smart people in Colombia that I think I already mentioned to you in the beginning about analyzing deals, but definitely there's a lot of opportunity there. And
I love that. I love that for multiple reasons. One, I'm going to talk with you because I got to talk with you about REI Call Center, but from personal reasons, right? I'm an agent and all that stuff. But being that I went to the Philippines, so the people that I have are in the Philippines, which is more traditional. I feel like you said, you went to different places. Philippines is more known for this. But one of the things that I'm having an issue with is that I have a lot of Spanish clients. And a lot of the, that's actually my target market. I'm Latino, I'm Dominican. And that's a lot of my target market. For the cold call, I've had lackluster success because of the language barrier. So even though I have the entry of the person who's going to make the phone calls, a lot of times they're like, "Hey, I still need you to call," because they speak Spanish. So that would, Latin America is pretty awesome for that, because that would help out.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we want to go back there, is because we do miss that component. We do have bilinguals that we hire, but not to the extent that I would be, quote unquote, ready to serve, because just like you said, most of the clients in Eastern, anything, I guess, east of Texas, or maybe even in California. A lot of people, like, there's so many Spanish speakers and so much demand for that a lot of our clients ask us for cold callers that are Latin American, that speak Spanish. And
Especially New York, and I'm in New York and you're in Miami, so especially New York and Miami, right?
absolutely, man, absolutely.
Oh,
So yeah, for sure, that's definitely one of the reasons why we're going to Colombia.
that's awesome, man. And so let me just ask you another question. So I love the expansion. So you have the expansion. You're gonna I wanted to touch on something that you mentioned actually on your Instagram, and it was the 5 non-negotiables. I felt like for growth mindset, this is so important. I want you to touch and talk a little bit about the 5 non-negotiables that you do daily.
Love it, love it, love that question. Thank you. Huge shout out to my mentor. I still hire mentors, guys. I will forever hire mentors, coaches. So definitely don't sleep on that. Don't think that an investment of $10,000 a year for a coach or a mentor is something that's not going to pay back itself 10x, 10 times. Since I've been with Dan Martell, like I said, he charges a lot. He charges a lot more money than I paid for my initial mentorship. But since I've been with him, I have been able to scale not only my business, but also my life, my energy, my ideas, my connections 10x. And I've only been with him since May. So all the money that I paid, which I want to say around $10,000 a year, I already got back and tenfold, like, and more. Like, so don't be afraid to invest in yourself. So that's one. That's a great question. That's off your question, but I wanted to put that in there about how
It's very valuable.
absolutely spend money on people that will help you along your journey. I promise you, it will pay itself back. So Dan Martell always talks about one of the biggest things that he teaches is don't focus on success. Don't focus on becoming successful. Yes, have goals in the future that scare you, that make other people's laugh. I mean, he's super, super, super big on dreaming big, and he's just an amazing individual, full of energy. But he talks about how do not focus on success, focus on habits that lead to success. So whatever it is that you're doing day in and day out, what are the habits that you are putting day in and day out and developing in yourself that are going to lead you to success? And sometimes they can be the most simplest of things, the most basic of things that you're thinking that, hey, that doesn't even move a needle. But I promise you, if somebody like Dan Martell tells you that even he today, multi-millionaire, I think the guy is over $500 million net worth right now. It's ridiculous. He's got all these software companies. Ridiculous. He's got his own private jet. But if he's doing these basic things, you better believe I'm going to be doing those basic things. And I hopefully your listeners who listen to this will also take this on and start implementing them, because simple things lead to much, much, much bigger things. So what the 5 daily non-negotiables that he talks about, and he makes you do them. If you do not do your daily 5 negotiables, whenever you're on a mentorship call with him, he will not actually allow you to ask your question. He'll be like, nope.
Wow.
I don't take non-disciplined people. And he actually kicks people off the call if they don't do their 5 daily non-negotiables. And he really strict on them, but they're super basic. The first is 10 pages of reading. So read 10 pages of a book. So that's something that he just trusts you on. But I that's one of the biggest things that your listeners should do. You do book reviews, 10 pages of reading, guys, every single day. It's not a lot, no matter Monday through Sunday, rain or shine. I don't care if you're traveling. I don't care if you're with your kids. You can find 20 minutes out of your day to read 10 pages out of a book.
Audible doesn't count. Read it.
Audible doesn't count. You have to read. You have to pick up a physical book and read it, because that's how you train your mind. That you got to sit there, focus, and get as much information as you possibly can. But all these distractions, Instagram, TikTok, Audibles, internet, YouTube videos, our distraction level just continues to just
higher and higher.
We can't pay attention anymore.
Yeah.
We cannot pay attention anymore. So that's why it's super difficult for kids to learn. But anyway, long story short, 10 pages of a book. Audible doesn't count. Kindle, he's good with. He's like, you know what?
Reading. As long as you're actually reading.
As long as you're sitting there reading and focusing for 20 minutes out of your day.
Awesome.
That's number 1. Number 2 is a 45-minute sweat. Some sort of a sweat. And again, daily non-negotiables, guys. This is Monday through Sunday, rain or shine. And he talks about how a lot of people tell him, well, you shouldn't work out every single day. And he doesn't mean go and lift weights every single day. He doesn't mean go and do like marathons every single day. Do some sort of a workout that makes you sweat, even if it's a walk. even if it's a yoga session. One of the biggest things that I learned from him is that walking is actually one of the best ways of figuring shit out. And I've been implementing that.
Just so you know, sorry to cut you. I'm looking down. It's only because I'm writing it down. So
No, you're good, man. You're good. You're good. You're good. You got to stop me. Just let me know. But walking,
no.
even if it's a 45-minute walk, and walking helps you on your journey of figuring things out as you're building your business. And one of the things he talks about is, yes, you can get your phone, you can do a live when you walk, and that's what he does a lot. But a lot of the times, don't even bring your phone. I started doing that now. Is when I go for a walk for 5-minute walk, I leave all of my distractions, my Apple Watches, my phones at home, and go and walk, guys. It's gonna make you think. It's gonna make you more present. It's gonna make you more calm. It's gonna make you just that process of getting a workout in. Put on a watch. Make sure you don't bring your phone so it's not connected.
Awesome.
So you know if it's a 45-minute walk. So that's a second daily non-negotiable. The last three are a little bit more quote unquote easier, I guess, but they sound easy, but they're more difficult because they're less time consuming, but they're more difficult in terms of consistency. The third daily non-negotiable is to review your goals 3 times per day, every day.
Wow.
I have a notification on my phone that goes off 3 times a day, says review your goals. No matter what it is that I'm doing, I'm going to open up my phone. It's all in my phone. In my notes, I just go read through my goals. Read through your goals. And one of the things that I will say that you will find reading through your goals is because you're doing it so much times, you're doing it 3 times a day for months on end. A lot of the time, you're just going to go ahead and just like go fast through it and not even realize what it is that you're reading just because you read it so many times. It's like the habit, right? Once you heard a song so many times, you kind of like tune it out already. You don't even listen to it. So just be careful. Don't tune it out. Take that time. Read that goal. Really make sure that if you believe in visualization, I visualize myself a little bit of while I'm reading the goal of already having the thing. So another book that I think that you should read. It's not the most famous book, but it definitely one of the most life-changing books for me. And Dan actually recommended it. Is Little Pocket Book of Money. I believe that's what it's called. I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna text you. But it's a little pocket book of money, and it talks about how you need to, whenever you're talking about your goals, you need to be talking about them in 100% certainty, 100% belief, 100% of the time today. So as if, and you know that saying, fake it till you make it. I hate that saying, but at the end of the day, don't fake it till you make it. Be as if. Like my goal is to become a billionaire real estate investor / developer. Today, I'm going to act as if. I'm going to present myself as if. I'm going to have the mindset. From my actions, from the way that I communicate, as a billionaire real estate investor today, even though that I'm not.
Love it.
A lot of people believe in this stuff. I do. Dan does. And if he does, holy shit, man, I'm going to go ahead and implement it. So
I believe in it. So you're talking about crowd. And I think that the people listening to this are the right crowd for this. So don't worry about it.
For sure, man. Whenever you're reading those goals, as if you already have accomplished those goals.
So review goals 3 times per day. Consistently, and actually take the time to really read them. Not I already know what they are. Really read
them as if you already have it, and then just really put that in your mind. Take that time.
And what's 4? What's number 4?
The fourth daily non-negotiable. I know I'm going through a lot through this, but the fourth one is 3 Instagram stories about your life. Share with other people about what it is that you're doing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be business related. It could be, for example, when you're on a run, whatever you want to do, just 3 stories. And the reason why, again, is you want to be relevant to your community.
I need to on that one.
Yeah, Dan is huge about connecting with people, and he talks about how the only way you succeed is by connecting with the right people, and you have to be relevant in those people's eyes. And so 3 stories per day. And then finally, and of course, he's a huge guy on, that's not part of the daily non-negotiable, but he's a huge guy on growing your followers. So producing content. So definitely produce content. That's not part of the daily negotiables, but the 5th one is reaching out to 5 of your followers every single day. And of course, to have this as an ongoing daily non-negotiable, you have to be growing your followers, and the way you grow your followers is by providing content that's valuable for them to listen to. But the 5th one is huge. It's probably one of the biggest ones, is reach out to 5 people. And I think That's how we got connected.
That is definitely how we got connected.
I just reached out to you.
I was just about to tell you that. That's definitely how we got connected. You reached, I think Fabio might have reached out to you, but you reaching back out is what definitely made this connection, because he was like, hey, you know, this guy is a super cool guy. I think he would be open to this. I'm going to reach out. And I said, do it. And he did.
Yeah.
Shout out to
100%.
Fabio for making the reach out also.
Huge. I think all I did is like, hey, it's just, hey, Fabio, thank you for the follow. Let me know if I can help you in anything that you're doing in real estate. And then we started talking about a deal that he was on, and then he brought in the podcast. Literally, that's all it was. And it all came from a 5 open. Hey, Vladimir, thanks for the follow. Let me know if I can help you on your journey with anything that you're working on in real estate, from what it is that you're already doing, whatever service you're offering. And man, I'm telling you, like those 5 things.
How many doors has already that kind of, or even client? I'm sure it's got any clients, doors. It's just already.
Clients 100% came from that. I send everybody to my sales team at REI that is interested in learning about more. Clients definitely. I can't tell you the number, but these connections, the connections on. I just got a deal under contract from somebody that reached out on Instagram that I'm going to make over $200,000 on.
Wow, real estate deal.
Real estate deal.
Wow.
Like literally, Vladimir. I'm gonna do a burr. I mean, like,
amazing.
I don't want to talk about this one yet because it's not finalized yet. But then, all because I reached out to somebody and said, "Hey, how you doing? How can I help you? Hey, I got this deal in Miami, Florida. Are you interested? Sure, I'm interested. Let's look at it. It's under contract. I'm getting it signed. I'm getting a power of attorney while I'm in Egypt. I'm gonna get the deal closed with my fiance as a power of attorney to get it closed so we can start working on it. So yeah, man. So those are the 5 daily non-negotiables. Again,
and it comes all of it. Look how it threads together. I want to point that out for people. Your daily non-negotiables have gotten you a $200,000 deal that came from doing the daily non-negotiables, that came from a mentor, that came from networking, right? So it's all like boom, boom, boom. This effect, this domino effect, that if you're just consistent and continue it, you just get the results from it and grow as a person.
Absolutely. Action. Take action every single day, guys, no matter how small, how big. And do the daily non-negotiable. It's going to change your life.
I think we covered so much, and I'm so happy with you coming on and really being able to speak with you a little bit more in depth with a little more time. And I think I'm just gonna finish off with saying, you know, I think you've given a lot to people, but what would be the final thing that you feel you would like to share with future entrepreneurs, future people that are just maybe not entrepreneurs, people just want growth in their life, mindset wise? What would be that thing that they have to do?
Get out of your head. Get out of your head, guys. Stop overanalyzing. Stop overthinking. Stop procrastinating. Get out of your head. Put a smile on your face. Start taking action. Think about 2 people that you can reach out to today and just have a conversation with about what it is that you're working on. Somebody that can help you along your journey. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. People are always helping people that are taking action. Like, I mean, Gonzalo could have said no, but I would have found somebody else who would have said yes. But I guarantee you, especially in this day and age of social connectivity, people love helping other people. And that's why they do it, is that internal gratitude of seeing others succeed, just because, hey man, I put that guy in, like, I helped him, I gave him advice. Right. So don't be afraid. Call, reach out, text, email, IG, whatever you got to do, just reach out to people, because that's the only way you're going to make shit happen. That's the only way you're going to make big things happen, is by helping others make things happen. Like me coming on this podcast is not only because I want to talk about myself. It's not, honestly. It's about trying to help your listeners, trying to help you along your journey, because I know eventually down the line, somehow it's going to come back to me. And I don't even care how it comes back to me, honestly. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at from the point of view of I'm helping because I was helped before. So get out of your freaking head, start taking action, start reaching out to your network and growing your network, and take freaking action.
I'm going to call this game time with Go Giver. I love it.
Read the book, Go Giver. Listen to the review.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for your time, Anton. I mean, this has been so informative. You put a battery in my back. I hope we definitely stay in communication, have more conversations about these things. when you get back from Egypt, let me know how the trip went. Thank you for making the time before going as well. And we're definitely going to stay in touch for sure. So
absolutely. Follow me on Instagram, Anton-Z REI.
yeah.
I DM me. Would love to connect.
We're gonna put you're gonna in the link will be in the description for REI call center for Anton-Z and other ways to connect with him. And yeah, man, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for coming on. Guys, this was the pod. Everything is Everything podcast. I hope you guys got a lot from it and many more to come. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
This is extraordinary. Can't ignore it. This is my story. I've been more than ready.